Hey, Schooner football fans. This is your Schooner football fans podcast. This is the second part of our podcast with the Oklahoma Roughnecks, Rhett, Chase, and Andrew. They share more great stories and traditions of the Roughnecks, like the paddle making tradition, the gun line, and the greatest tradition of all, the schooner. And we find out that the schooner has been tried at other sporting events, but the Ponies are pure football fans. Booma.
I actually have no idea.
I think
He does have an idea. He's just wondering what he can share right now.
What can I say on air?
I don't know. Somebody else go first while I'm thinking.
I like the time we had Bible club. That was good.
Okay, let's hear Bible Club. We've got it. I mean, you brought it up.
Nah, I was just kidding. We're just sweet kids.
Sweet innocent guys.
Right? Never do anything wrong.
Yeah.
No, so I've got a story. It was my first year. It was when my pledge class was actually making our paddles. We unfortunately had even less time than Rhett did. We had 2 days to make our paddles before our first game. And we, of course, barely knew any of the guys that had just gotten into the club. We had a couple of the guys knew each other from high school, but we really had no clue who each person was. And all of a sudden, we were packed in a garage sanding paddles with all these different sandpapers. And then we get to the spray painting stuff. And so we're painting our paddles, and you have guys falling asleep, and all of a sudden you look at the clock, and it's 3 a.m. And it was me and one of my pledge brothers at Salem. We were the last 2 awake, and we're just sitting there kind of doing homework, doing our own thing, and we're just thinking we're never going to get these paddles done before the game. And at one point we go out and we check the paddles, and they're pretty much dry, like ready for another coat. And we walk inside to the rest of the guys that are asleep, and we're just like, how are we supposed to wake them up? So we immediately just start yelling at them as loud as we can, and we're just yelling boomer and making a racket and kicking them around and stuff like, hey, come on, it's time to go. And they were just freaking out. And at one point, one of the guys shot up and goes, wait, is it kickoff time already? Just totally terrified and confused for what was about to happen. Nice. And that was just one of those moments where we barely knew each other, but we were all able to just laugh at it. Well, no, it's actually 5 a.m. We got to spray paint another coat.
All right, Andrew.
Well, you've heard already, every roughneck hand makes their own paddles. We hand sand, we paint, and we braid our own leather on them. And my first year, I wasn't like the other two. I had a week to get mine done. So mine looked good. I've had experience in the past with painting, so it was sanded smooth. Everything was perfect on it. And it was the Bedlam game, the last game of the season. All my Pledge Brothers paddles were destroyed. I was like the last paddle in the club that didn't have a crack in it. And it's 4th down, OSU's ball. They're on the 3-yard line about to score a touchdown. And we have a paddle called the BFP, which is the 6-foot paddle. And so I'm standing on the sideline with it, maybe 10 yards away from the quarterback. And I'm all of a sudden I get the idea, and I grab my paddle, and I just start smacking it. Every time it hits, it cracks so loud that it could almost make your eardrums bleed out. And I was swinging as hard as I could, and they go to run the ball, and they get tackled, and they don't score a touchdown. And I look down, and I look and just pieces of wood are everywhere. And I look over at my friend Hunter Gear, who's a roughneck, and he's just looking at me scared. I asked him, what's going on? He goes, every time you hit the BFP, another piece exploded. It looked like you were sawing a log because sawdust, and it was loud. Everyone in the section had their ears plugged. And
that's cool. And so, just so I'm going to, the BFP. There you go.
Don't ask.
It's a big paddle.
But I went from having a perfect paddle with no cracks in it to being it's split into 8 pieces, and I have 3 inches of the handle left attached to my arm.
All right.
Well, that means you were successful in doing what you were doing.
It was obnoxious.
And then you had to make a new paddle, right?
I make one every year.
Every year. All right.
I didn't have a new one that year, and I still had to go through basketball season. So I took it, I put nails through it, I glued it until it was a solid paddle again. I call it Frankenstein now.
Yeah. All right.
There you go. All right, Rhett.
Yeah, so this is probably so when you become a new roughneck, you have to wait a certain amount of games to be able to shoot the shotguns. So this is my first, maybe second game ever shooting the shotguns. And Chase, I'm on the gun line with Chase. Chase is standing there holding the double barrel, and he looks over to me, and he's like, "You want to shoot the double barrel?" And I was like, and he gives it to me and takes my shotgun, and I'm like, "Oh my God, like, I've never shot this before. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, am I going to be able to do it?" And OU scores, and I was like, oh my God. Like, I'm starting to sweat at this point. And right before we shoot, he grabs this double barrel, gives me back my gun, loads it, cocks it, and then we shoot. And I was like, oh my God.
It didn't give you a chance to mess up.
Yeah, exactly.
That's another good story, actually. Every time you shoot, the first time you shoot a gun, that gun is your gun. So like every gun has a name. Well, I went to shoot for the first time, and I'm standing next to Chase here on the gun line so I can hear him. And we go 1, 2, 3, and I go to shoot. My gun doesn't go off.
Nope.
It's a hang fire. So I bring it down, and I wait a while. Then I bring it down, and I cock it open, and the hammer never struck. And at this point, Ryan, another roughneck next to me with the gun, said, "I got to go real fast," and he hands me a gun. So now, first time shooting these guns, I've had a lot of rifle experience in my life, but I have 2 of these roughneck shotguns now. And then we kick a field goal. So I have to pop both of them, cock them, and I raise 2 shotguns up and shoot, and that's my first shot on the field was with 2 shotguns. So that's why I now shoot the double barrel, so I'm always shooting 2 barrels.
That's cool.
Yeah. Okay, I want to talk about the Schooner. So it only comes out at football games, right?
Usually, yeah. So we use the Schooner. It's mainly seen at football games, but a lot of times we'll use it at a lot of different community events as well, like different parades or events held on campus. But it's most notable at the football games.
Yeah. So what do you have to do to be the driver?
So
None of us are
I
drivers.
guess I can answer this one. Yeah. So pretty much what it is to be a driver is once you're in the club, you're pretty much immediately, it's kind of like a background interview kind of thing. And the guys who are currently drivers are looking at you, like looking at different characteristics and attributes you have, the ways you interact with the ponies, the way you help with like throughout the whole club. And when they graduate, the group of drivers that there are then pick who they want to replace you as a new driver. And so it's kind of like a drivers pick drivers mentality, and they're looking for different traits and characteristics, hoping to find someone who can continue to do a good job at it and not flip the schooner, of course.
Yeah, well, yeah. That's only happened once, hasn't it?
89 was
Yeah.
89 or 90, something like
Yeah.
that, somewhere in that area.
Somewhere around then, yep.
Yeah, and then it got a flag in the Washington OU Orange Bowl.
Destroyed that turf field.
Exactly.
So here's my thought. Okay, I just wanted to throw out where I think it should be at sometimes. Okay, it should be at baseball games or like high profile. Like we play OU Texas, and then when we hit a home run it out across the warning track across through there, a home run. What do you think, Rob?
I'm all for that.
Softball games as well.
It sounds great, but in fact, last year at a softball's national championship celebration, when they were presenting the trophy like on the field, we actually had the schooner at that, and that's literally what they wanted us to do was take the schooner around the warning track. And the ponies were not having any of it. They then changed from the field to go into that track and just a different scenery and all that. They were not.
They're football
happy about
fans.
it.
The
Yeah.
ponies are football
Exactly.
fans.
They love Sooner football.
They're creatures of habit, is what I would say.
Now, I'm okay with leaving them on the field, too, to be honest with you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, the football field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the tradition, and I think personally, again, we're fans, so it's one of the greatest traditions. I think it's like nobody else's.
Right.
No,
Other cool ones I think are Florida State. I don't know what the
Osceola. Osceola. Talked to us to him in 2000.
but theirs is pretty cool. Uga, just simply because I like bulldogs, but Uga's pretty cool. I actually took a picture of Uga at the Rose Bowl when they they trotted him down in front of us. What other ones are cool, Rob? What can?
The Mountaineer, West Virginia's Mountaineer.
Oh.
We
He's
got
a
to
cool
meet him.
guy.
He's a cool guy.
We got to meet him.
Caleb, what do you like? What other mascots you in?
USC with the sword too.
Yeah, the Trojan.
And then Ohio State with the the guy dots the I. That's always cool.
Oh, the tuba player that dots the eye.
Yeah.
That's a cool. Yeah, that is a pretty cool tradition.
One big one I like is Colorado with
Buffalo.
Ralphie.
Yeah.
The Ralphie run.
When Ralphie takes off running, it does like with the Schooner. We have control of the Schooner and the Pony. With Ralphie, they are struggling to hold on. It seems like
They have like
They're getting
they
drugged.
have like 8
Exactly.
leashes on them, don't
Yeah,
they?
exactly.
and even
That one kid got drugged for like 30 yards.
and even with there's no such thing as a tame buffalo. I mean, I've watched stuff. It's the tamest one you got is still wild. So if you're trying to control this thing running, across the field, you're nuts.
Well, it's in Colorado, so it's probably more like a drugged buffalo.
That's one of the funny. That's one of actually the really cool facts about OU. So Boomer and Sooner, the ponies that pull the Schooner, they're actually one of the very few mascots that actually isn't like drugged or out or anything during the game. They're totally 100% conscious. Whereas like Bevo or Ralphie, even they're all like drugged and sedated a little bit just so that way they're not super aggressive, and
freaking
riled
out.
up. Yeah,
They have earplugs like we do. Did that alumni ever talk to you at the President's thing in Dallas about it's the Florida State that ride the horse out and throw the spear? And everyone told them to bring the earplugs for the horse. and he said back in the day the Roughnecks were wild. They were free range, did what they want kind of guys. Well, I don't know where they were, but they said we're playing Florida State, and he'd throw that spear right in the ground. And a roughneck raised a shotgun and shot it in the end zone. And it bucked the guy off, and the horse took off running.
What was that? Was that here?
I don't remember when he said, but we have stories from alumni all the time.
Maybe 2000. We haven't played them since then, have we?
Yeah, we played them twice.
Since 2000?
Yeah.
I did not.
Thumped them.
It could have been before that, for all I know, too. Who knows?
Yeah, haven't we, Caleb? We played them twice since 2000.
Yeah, we played them a home and away one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, Rob. Are you even a Sooner fan?
Guess not. But I can tell you this. Since we're talking about mascots, I want to tell you this story. I was at the what year was it that we tied them? 95 Texas. I'm sorry. OU Texas.
Yeah, something like that. 95.
Like 95. They were like ranked number 2 and they were 5-0 and we were 0-5. We'd just come off a beating from Tulsa. Do you recall that?
Yeah. Yes, I do. I was at that game.
Yeah. So I bought tickets from a scalper and I was in the Texas section and we actually wound up tying them that year. And they run their little cow out on the field, right?
Yeah.
And so I was with my wife at the time and I said, look, dear, they're running their little cow out on the field. This 80-year-old grandma that was sitting behind me from Texas, she locked up on me now. I'm going to tell you what. Yeah. She come on, that's not a cow, that's a steer or whatever it is. I said, it's a cow. I do 2 slices of bun on either side and some mustard, and we're going to town on that day, boy. And oh, my gosh, she cussed us for, I don't know, until we got away from her.
Yeah.
So
That's crazy.
You remember Minnow talking the first KOG when they were trying to bring Bevo out of the trailer?
Oh yeah. So during Texas, this is something we're unable to do anymore, which is kind of sad. But one thing that they used to do, so Bevo's actually transported on a trailer, just like how we transport the Schooner and the Ponies.
Ours is nicer.
But yeah, ours is definitely nicer. But Bevo's trailer is actually kept in the tunnel that we sit in during the OU Texas game. And so what used to happen is somebody would bring a padlock and they would padlock Bevo's trailer completely shut to where they couldn't do anything about it because they didn't have a key to unlock it or anything. So they'd sit around for an hour and a half at least trying to get some clippers so that way they could cut this lock off and get Bevo transported. And it was one of those things where the Roughnecks were never around to like see when they finally got Bevo loaded in the trailer, but they just knew like Bevo's still standing on that field getting poked with a stick trying to get home.
oh, that's good stuff.
One year, the first KOG, the positions to come out through the years, he was the first one.
Okay, what was it again?
The first KOG, Keeper of the Guns.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
sorry.
I just went.
But they didn't bring a padlock that year, so they would start. They got Bevo back down, and they opened up the trailer, and they started to pull him out. And he would raise that shotgun up and shoot it. And Bevo would run right back up in the trailer. And he did that. He did it one more time after that and shot it. And he'd run right back up.
That's hilarious.
And so one of the police officers down there went up to him and said, "Hey, we have to get this. We got to get this bull out of here." And he goes, "Okay." And so the cop's standing right in front of this man. And without missing a beat, a roughneck on the other side of the end zone sees him coming out, takes a gun up, shoots, and runs up into the trailer again.
That is awesome.
And they said they made us put the guns up.
Okay, what, Caleb? You got anything you want to throw at them?
What's mascot wise? What's again?
Yeah.
Story? Can't think of any ones right now.
What about any other stories? Y'all got any other good stories to share?
Or have we kept you long enough?
I got a story. It was a
Uh-oh.
Bedlam story.
Here we go. Yes.
Yeah, that's what we didn't. What is wrong with us, Bedlam?
Yeah, we got to talk Bedlam.
What are their guys called?
Paddle people.
Yeah, they have their own paddle people.
So we got
Which-
Silver
The
Spurs.
guy with the blow up reindeer.
The Rudolph.
So it was Bedlam. It was a home game. It was at OU. I want to say it wouldn't have been this year. 2 years ago now. I don't remember exactly. D.D. Westbrook, I believe it was, went up for a catch, and he got smacked pretty hard, and everybody in the stands immediately started booing, thinking it was a targeting call. And the refs weren't calling it. They ended up going to review it. And, of course, everybody was super heated, super upset there was no call in the first place. And they come back after reviewing the play, and they say that there was no targeting whatsoever. I took my paddle, and I just reared back and slammed it on the field goal post. And they have that padding around the field goal post and everything. But not even for a care for anybody that was around me, swinging my paddle. 2 good swings, and my paddle split straight down the middle, and half of it was in my hand. The other half flew probably 5 or 6 yards away from me. And I could just hear every single fan, OU fan and OSU fan that was sitting behind me on that in the end zone, just like, oh, my gosh. Like, oh, my. And I was just so heated. I was so frustrated. One of the little sis actually ended up bringing me back my half of the paddle and was like, you almost hit me. I was like, I don't care. Like, did you? That's an awful call.
That was the same play that me, you, and Colton ended up past the end zone on the field, just yelling. We were blind raised, just yelling at the refs and whatnot.
Well, I mean, not to get off of OSU, but the Texas game this year, the second half, all the holding. Oh
Exactly.
my God! Especially, and it was primarily on Obo,
Right.
because Obo was smoking that boy, and he had no choice
But to
but to grab him, and
Yeah.
it was the most obvious holds, and they just not a single hold called. Everybody in our house was just screaming. It was horrible. But what are some other, do y'all have a lot of fun with the 1945 national championship claim? They put it on their stadium now.
I've seen a lot of the memes and stuff. I think that's where I get the best humor out of it, is the people that constantly make memes out of the banner, and they're like, I don't know, I can't even think of the one, but there's so many of them out there just talking about whenever OSU claims like a victory or something, people will like edit the banner to where it says, oh, we're the 2017 like coolest people on earth, like all this weird stuff just for the heck of it. And it irritates a lot of them off.
Oh yeah,
It's great though. I think it's great humor.
Yeah.
I like the Photoshop that said Army.
Because, and I've said it before. We were talking about OSU fans, and I have a lot of OSU fans. Rob does too. Caleb does too. I have Texas fans, that are friends, close friends. Even my close friends that are OSU fans are the most obnoxious, whiny friends.
Not
They're
anymore,
fans.
Terry. Not if they listen to this.
No, I tell them that. It was like, shut up. I mean, come on. Because like I said, every year is their year.
Yeah,
We're going to do it this year. It's our year. Well, it's been that way for 100 years. And
Mason Rudolph's got it this time. We got it.
He's only there for 10 years.
And even some of the best teams that they had back in the 80s with Jimmy Johnson there, they never won. I mean, it wasn't until Oklahoma, kind of went downwards that they got any upper hand on it. And you'd have thought, it wasn't because they were great. It was because we were bad.
Still the most lopsided rivalry in the nation, right?
Yeah. And
Just getting
deservedly
that
so.
out there.
So that's a question. Do you guys own any orange clothing at all?
Not anymore.
Yeah.
The only time it's okay is if you were in jail or
Which
if you're
is
going
not
hunting.
okay. I actually quit.
Oh, I have hunting vest. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I actually quit
Different
The
hunting.
only time it's okay.
I actually quit hunting because of that.
Yeah, just take the risk of getting shot at this point. Just go straight camo.
I'll just wear pink, right?
There you go.
You know, I'm not gonna wear orange ever. I don't own a single. You know, I don't like burnt orange. You know, Rob calls it the OSU oranges. Department of Correction orange.
Jailhouse orange. You know it's true.
It's Oklahoma State is jailhouse orange. All they need is DOC on the back of their jerseys, and that's it. But okay, you guys bring up, and honestly, until Rhett, Rhett. I've known Rhett since he was like about to my shins, but I didn't know anything about Little Sis. I mean, I'd seen the ladies with you guys, but until he became a roughneck, I didn't know anything about the Little Sis. What is it, Little Sis or Little Sis?
Little Sis.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that. I don't know anything.
So the Lil Sis are actually the sister organization of the Roughnecks. A lot of what they do is just helping us out, and a lot of stuff that we do is even helping them out. While we're like separate organizations, a lot of what we do, we pretty much do together. A lot of times when we're with the Schooner, we're all taking pictures together. We're doing community service events together. The Lil Sis, one of the big things they're known for is they're always up on the Schooner as well with the driver.
Right.
And so they're always swinging their paddles, and a lot of times what a lot of the Roughnecks refer to them as is they're the pretty faces of the organization.
Yeah, because there ain't any three of you guys pretty whatsoever.
We
just
don't
let
have
you
a
know
future
that.
in modeling, but a couple of them might. Exactly.
They have, if not the most, one of the most amount of spirit or community service hours in the spirit program.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's just something, I didn't know anything about them until, Rhett, we started talking about it. I was like, what is that? And he's like, well, you see all of them out there. So do you guys, has any of them ever shot one of the shotguns off?
Unfortunately, no. None of them have actually ever shot our shotguns. They've done stuff very similar to it. They go through the same training as us because they do, in fact, handle a lot, the shells. A lot of times because, for example, me as keeper of the guns, I'm not able to leave the shotgun line in the end zone. I'll ask one of the Little Sis who is sitting by me or sitting on the ends of the gun line, like, hey, could you go grab an empty bag, like a new bag of shells, just so that way we have some when OU starts scoring. And a lot of times they'll really happily do it, and they'll bring us waters and stuff if it's a hot game. And they're really there a lot to support us, which is really nice. And we're really grateful because I guarantee without them being there, I would have had a couple of heat strokes here and there.
Oh, God.
There have been some hot games where I needed some water.
There were games where we were on the gun line, and I just didn't even think about it. And it was 2 quarters into the game. And one of them goes over and goes, do you want a drink of water? And I went, yes, I do.
Now that you bring it up, yeah.
Every time I yell, I get lightheaded about passing out. I should probably drink one of these.
Okay. Rob, you got anything else you want to throw out there?
No.
Caleb, you got anything else?
Not that I can think of right now.
All right. Well, here again, tell us about what you guys are doing right now to get new members. Is that what you're called, members? Or
Yeah, so right now we're working to get new members. We're recruiting for next season for, I guess that'd be fall of 18, spring of 19. We're going to hopefully have the application posted online soon, and then we're going to start doing interviews come the start of the fall season / school year. So for any guys or gals that are interested in being a roughneck, or for the ladies, a Little Sis, feel free to follow our social media accounts at OU Roughnecks, and just follow us, DM us, say that you're interested, and we'll be able to send you whatever information, put you on our interested list, so that way we can keep in contact with you. So when time comes and we're able to send out recruiting emails and applications, things of that nature, you'll be in on the loop of it.
All right.
Also,
I think
Schoonersports.com. All the information on Roughnecks and any other spirit organizations on that website.
Okay.
I think one of the things that they should have on there is you must not ever wear orange.
Yeah.
That's,
Not even hunting.
that's a realistic expectation, I think. So
Yeah.
We might add it.
Yeah.
also, I'd just like to say I really appreciate you guys coming on. And
It's
I know
been
you're-
awesome.
You're college students as well as in the spirit, of the Roughnecks, and I really appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thanks
for having us.
All right. That's it for this episode, guys. Boomer Rob.
Boomer Terry.
Boomer Caleb.
Boomer.
Boomer Roughnecks.
Boomer.
All right, Sooner football fans. That was our second podcast with the Roughnecks. But listen tomorrow because we're not done. The Roughnecks come on and they give us a test. See if Rob, myself, and Caleb have what it takes to be a Roughneck. Remember, if you want to be on the podcast, go to www.soonerfootballfans.com Click on the How to Be On the podcast. We'll get contact with you, and we'll get you on. Boomer.